Hey everybody, thanks for checking in. This is Mr. Hoig with the Inspirational Video of the Day. Today my guest speaker is Tom Nelson. Tom's a great friend of mine from high school, was an extremely driven athlete and a great teammate, and now is a middle school teacher and runs a sports camp in the summer. And he's going to talk about some things that are extremely important to be successful in anything. And those of you who have had me in class or in a sport will think that I told him to talk about these things. But I promise I told him to talk about whatever he believes is important. And these are things that I constantly preach on. Don't specialize. Do things that you're not good at. Put in the extra work. If you can't, do the little things in class or be respectful, then you're not going to do the little things in a game. And other things like don't get caught up in A team, B team, JV. Just constantly put in the work and be a great teammate. So anyway, this is exactly what I constantly preach. He's 100% right. And just to emphasize the point of not specializing and that it matters what you do in class and what you do in other sports, there are several athletes that are going to go on and play college this next year, Bryce, Caden, Hunter. And I've talked to multiple college coaches who have wanted to know about them. They have never asked me how talented they were. They've never asked me if I thought they were good enough or how their skills are. They want to know how hard they work in practice, how were they in class, how respectful are they, how will they do if they have to be a backup for a little bit, will they work hard, will they put in the effort to become as good as they can be. Those are the things that college coaches care about, and it's because they matter. So don't take my word for it. Tom's got a great message here. This is Tom Nelson with the Inspiration of the Day.
Hi, my name is Tom Nelson. I'm a middle school teacher, and I've been helping manage a sports camp out in New York for the last 14 years. I want to talk about two things today. The first is specialization. I think more and more, a lot of kids are getting pushed towards specializing in one or two different sports, and I'd really encourage you to stick with as many sports as you can. Be a 4-sport, 5-sport, 6-sport athlete. Especially, growing up in Iowa, which I'm sure many of you have, there's opportunities to play on all these different teams. If you've got someone coming up to you, a coach, an adult, someone of influence, who's encouraging you to, drop a summer sport so you can focus on this, or don't do this so you can do that, I'd really encourage you to at least talk to some of your other coaches. I think if you look around, a lot of really successful collegiate athletes played a lot of different sports, and if you look at the pros even, a lot of athletes play a lot of sports. I've been fortunate to work with a quarterback who played in the pros for over 10 years. Growing up, played 4 sports, played actually more than 4 sports, but he wasn't taking, the winter off to work on throwing the football, even though he ends up being a pro quarterback. So I'd really encourage you to play as many sports as possible, and don't decide hey, I don't like this sport or I do like this sport until you learn, all the fundamentals of it, until you've really got it down, because you're never really going to enjoy something unless you can, play it to some degree, with some degree of success. So even if it's tough, I'd encourage you to stick with it. The second thing I'd mention is kind of effort and discipline. If you can't be disciplined in your classroom, I don't think any coach really expects that you're going to be able to be disciplined, on the football field, basketball field, track, whatever the sport be. If you can't get your work in time, if you can't follow simple instructions, then that's going to be an issue. And I think a lot of kids say, well, it's okay, it's one assignment, but one assignment in the classroom is one missed block, or it's one false start, it's one offsides, it's one travel because you weren't paying attention, or one bad pass. If you expect to be disciplined in the athletic realm, then you've got to be disciplined in the classroom too. And the other thing is you've got a bit of a reputation that you need to protect, and you only get one of those. So you want your teachers, you want the people in your community to know, hey, that's a good kid, he's doing the right thing. Because if you're not doing the right thing other places, as much as you want and as much as you think you're serious about a specific sport, you're really not that serious about it, because you're missing out on the opportunities to do the little things right throughout your life and your daily life that you'd expect to have those details right in the athletic realm. I think a lot of people figure out or try to figure out too early on, who's really good at things and who's, your B teamers or your JV players, what have you. Uh, and along with discipline is effort. Like, of course, it's handy to be 6'6" in basketball, or it's handy, if you're a larger guy to be a lineman. But at some point, someone's going to start trying harder than you, and they're going to get past you if you're not doing the extra things. Like, are you just going to practice and just doing what you're expected to do to practice? Or are you doing extra things on your own? Are you doing extra things over the summer? I don't care how talented you are, if you get complacent, at some point, at some level, whether it's high school, whether you want to go to college, someone's going to pass you just because they have more effort than you. And the same thing for guys, who maybe you weren't naturally gifted with the height, or you're a smaller kid. You can make up for a lot of those things by being a good teammate, by doing all the little things your coach wants you to do, and then giving that extra effort. And if you continue to do that, you might not see drastic improvement right away, but over time, you'll start to see that improvement. And maybe you'll be one of those kids who doesn't grow until their senior year of high school. Well, if you've been putting all that extra effort in until then you've got a real shot to do some special stuff. And maybe you don't grow. And maybe it's just not on the cards, but you're going to be the best you that's possible because you've been putting that effort in. But if you do, then all of a sudden, you're going to have all those little skills because you've been working so hard and have a real chance to succeed. So, like I said, the biggest two things I just encourage you to do is do as many sports as possible, stick with them, even if it's tough, even if track's not your, I hear a lot, I don't like running. Well, guess what? No one really likes it, but it's good for you and it's going to make you better in every other sport. And then make sure you're being disciplined in the class, in your life, and giving that extra effort after practice so you can be the best person, best athlete possible. I hope you found something in here helpful. Have a good day.